Thank you for having me, and I'm very happy to meet you all. And I want to talk about the meeting. I'm very fascinated by the meeting these days, and just thinking about the overall topic of this webinar series, calibrating aesthetics and culture in the new norm. Looking at the screen in front of me, which is all of you, is very telling for this whole predicament that we're all in, because we should meet physically now. I should be in Kerala, in your college, and we should be looking at each other without screens. We should be looking at each other face to face and meet in that way. Now we have to meet in this way, and we have to make the best of it. And I think actually looking at my screen now, I see all these little dots. I see like 30 something little dots with names on them, and little icons with closed microphones. It's almost a poem in itself, isn't it? At least it could very well be. And I think it's a funny thing, with another funny aspect of the title of this webinar series is calibrating. I think it's or configuring. It's not even calibrating, which is a mechanical metaphor. It's configuring, which is a computer metaphor. It is a digital metaphor, and also very telling for our interaction in this time, where I think the development that we were already in prior to the pandemic has been greatly accelerated, for better or for worse again, by this lockdown, so that the shift of reality, where digitally mediated experience of the world has become more and more sort of the new norm, has shifted immensely, so that perhaps you can even talk of a shift in hyper reality, so that the digital is very rapidly sort of gaining ground as a prime, or a sort of favorite mode of experiencing the world and meeting the world, or meeting the other. You can see it also in the dating apps, where actually people seem to be more confident behind their screen, and actually to a large degree are starting to prefer this form of contact to the other, more sort of perhaps difficult form of contact for the untrained. So there is a lot of things in that that I find is very, very interesting. When I said before that I prefer to be in Kerala in person and meet with you all in person, it is of course because the meeting is so much more, and it entails a lot of it basically everything is one big constant meeting. I was thinking about that before giving this of the components of our body, or the meeting. Then if we zoom out between narratives, even I think poetry is one of many more, but it's maybe a very apt instrument to try and grasp a hold of some of this massive constant massive meetings that are perpetually in bloom, so to speak, around us and inside us, from the microcosmic to the macrocosmic, intergalactic even level. So I think poetry is a very apt instrument for grasping that, and especially in times of change, because what poetry can do is it can sort of, with poetry, you can sort of reach out and grab a part of the flow of the present. It's a very great way to capture little slices of the present, a situation, a feeling, a perception of the now. And in this way, I think poetry has become even more important in this predicament that we all find ourselves in, both as an instrument of self-development, as a therapeutic instrument, as an instrument and a means of democratization, and certainly also as a means of negotiating the meeting between self and other, between self and the world. And I think also a very suitable means to sing the song of the contemporary, however hard it might be to grasp and however multifaceted it might be. But again, I would love to be with you all on stage in the same room. Universe willing, it will happen perhaps next year or the year after. I don't think, it's my personal opinion, I don't think that it will happen as soon as we would like. I think there is a lot of, it is too good of a power instrument to let go of. So I don't think it will sort of be over tomorrow or next month. I think it will probably last for the next couple of years at least. And then perhaps I think in the middle, in 23, 24, perhaps it will sort of be, it will be aligned with some other changes. Again, a computer metaphor, I think World Economic Forum is operating now with a term they call the Great Reset, I believe, which is also a computer metaphor for some very sort of non-digital sort of things. So poetry as a meeting point, I think it's very apt. I don't know if you write poetry yourself, some of you, or if you merely study it and read it, but I can definitely recommend for you all to experiment with it, to write it, to start practicing it, and also to read it to others, to do some spoken word poetry, some performance poetry, and just share it like that. Because that meeting, one facet of the meeting is on the page, between page and perceptor, between reader and writer, like that. Another aspect is the aspect where you sort of where the reader performs it or reads it, and you as an audience listens to it and experience it in that way. That is also very I know it's very big in India. It's becoming big. I know spoken word is on the rise, which is a beautiful thing, because it is really a tool of democratization and much needed also instrument for systems critique, for critique of the contemporary. And I think we need that everywhere now, no matter where we are. A second or another element in why I think poetry is such an apt instrument for this is that it usually focuses on shared elements. Again, pointing back to the meeting, because what is the outcome of the meeting? It is often a shift of trajectory. The meeting will almost never leave you untouched, or even if it leaves you untouched, this will also be an effect. So it will never have it's never a null sum game. The meeting is always fruitful. It brings some kind of resonance, and meetings of these resonant fields that we also are is tremendously important, because in this way we carry it with us until we meet another resonance field, and in that way it can travel. And in this way also the poem have a sort of shamanic compound or element in it, that it brings and gives fruits from somewhere else to the listener or to the reader, from one person to another. And these shared fruits, or this shared insight, often very compressed and very crystallized insights. Often poems can bring sort of insights and compress them in a very sort of very few lines, or very short narratives, poetic narratives, that could also be sort of expanded into essays or monographs or reports, or longer fiction even, or it could be transferred into other works of installation, of visionary art, of sound art, or movie art, in that way. So I don't know if I should sort of read a little bit to you. I published 2 books in India. The latest is this one. I don't know if you can see it. It's called River of Man. It's travel poetry mainly. This is my second book. It came last summer, and this is my first book in India, Grab Your Heart and Follow Me, and this is from 2018. Not exclusively written in India, but of course also written in India. So actually I would like to, because you're all Indians, I would like to maybe introduce you to another place by reading this piece, the first piece from Grab Your Heart and Follow Me. And this piece is about a huge city in Turkey called Istanbul. And I don't know if any of you have been to Istanbul, but this poem serves as a kind of welcoming brochure in case you should go there. So it sort of prepares you for that. In Istanbul, there is a borough, part of the city where there's a lot of cats. And for the people, the inhabitants that live there, they call it the cat capital of the world. Sort of like Kerala is called God's own country. So this part of Istanbul is called the cat capital of the world. And this poem is called A Welcome to Cat God City. And it presents you with a meeting of that part of Istanbul. And it's called A Welcome to Cat God City. On the tip of the Golden Horn, in the embrace of mighty Istanbul, lies Jihangir, city of cats. Here rules the cat god, beautiful and cruel, lacy lightning packed in fur and stuck in a 4-legged frame. Cats are everywhere, resting on motorcycle seats or stacks of books, hanging out in windowsills, resting on doorsteps, napping on restaurant tables, snoozing on top of the dervishes dancing down Istiklal Street, hunting for snacks in the trash bins, having feasts outside butcher shops, or shopping for goodies at the fish market. Habitually, and with exquisite sense of timing, they welcome every new guest by stretching out and laying their front paws on the meat-filled places on the tables, gliding in and out, walking legs, or simply walking straight head first into the new, demanding respect and worship in galleries, homes, and museums. They roam freely like the temple monkeys of India. And if they're not given sufficient respect and attention, they piss in the corners, they roll themselves in colored chalk, and imprint their mark on as much precious material as they can. In this phase of godhood, they're known by the ancient cat name Yakub. For as many a god, the feline cat god of Jehangir is many-faced and can cause happiness and disaster alike with the same indifferent sleepy yawn. So, for centuries, if not millennia, the humans here have worshipped the cats. The cats are their babies and can do nothing wrong. It's so sweet, they say. Look at it, they purr. It's coochie poochie noochie hoochie moochie, they meow as they pet and caress and worship the little vermin or human looking back at them empty-eyed. Some say the cat god came from ancient Egypt, banished by wizards of the north, called by shamans of the south to rest and rule on the tip of the golden horn. Others say they feed on each other, the humans and the cats of Cat City, that they have developed a symbiotic relationship, making them forever one in two shapes: human cat and cat human. Some say that a sultan here once lost a bet he made with a powerful jinn, so that all the cats are human and the human here all cats, savoring fish, raw meat and milk produce, gliding effortlessly in and out of traffic, howling serenades at starlit skies, hunting mercilessly and playing with their prey. Some say the women here shift shape when they come, and that you can see the men's tails when they rest and vegetate in their little stores, catching rays of afternoon sun on the doorsteps, or fight ruthlessly for dominance and territory. So if you ever come to Jehangir, I suggest you better be prepared. Meow. So that was a trip to Istanbul for all of you via poetry. So I don't know really if we should, if you have questions or something, or do you want to, if you want to ask me something before we move on, or I should just keep talking. I want to read also a couple of pieces from my other book for you. But you're welcome if you want to ask me something. Go ahead, please.
I think, Claus, participants are waiting for you to finish your talk, and then maybe go on to the question part. Because if you go to the question part now, maybe your talk might just move on further. So, shall we just continue with your talk? Then we shall go to the question. Is it okay? Is that okay with you?
Sorry, I couldn't really hear. I can't really hear you.
I'm sorry. It's like I think the participants are waiting for you to finish your talk, and then maybe they might go to the question part. Because if we go to the question part now, maybe like your talk might just go on. Okay, and one word of appreciation for that cat poem. It was really beautiful. Basically, I think there are a lot of
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope this was sort of an illustration of what I am also talking about. Actually, but maybe we should talk more about the predicament we're in now, all of us, the sort of a pandemic. I think that's very interesting also, because we were talking earlier about the widespread use of sort of computer metaphors, and also the shift of reality, sort of from where directly experienced reality is rapidly becoming fictionalized, and fiction or electronically mediated reality is becoming hyperreal. It's been underway for a long time, perhaps even since the end of World War II. But suffice to say is that if you remember back in time, where like maybe 10, 20 years ago, whenever people were experiencing something fantastic, something wondrous, to explain it to each other, to share it, when we were to to have the other meet that experience of the fantastic with us. We would often refer to it as a movie. We would say, oh, it was just like in the movies. So already there, you have a shift of reality where fiction becomes hyper-real, becomes first reality, and what's perceived real or experientially perceived real becomes second-order reality. I think this is very important and very interesting, and also it's something that we should all be aware of, because the shift is accentuating these days, and it's happening faster and faster. And another interesting conjunction I was going to say is that you have this widespread use of computer metaphors, but also you have the war metaphors. And now in this pandemic, I think these two have conjoined, so that you have all this war metaphorics that we have used for an even longer time. And perhaps this is connected to capitalism, or rogue capitalism even, where a certain set of values is being propagated as a human sort of natural predominant norm, where it can be contested, whereas like survival and competition and sort of greed and self-sufficiency is being propagated as sort of prime human sort of virtues somehow, or prime human traits rather, where other prime human traits, or perhaps even more prime human traits as generosity and forgiveness and tolerance and beauty, and all these things that we have to sort of master in order to do the real meeting, which is not mediated by screens, but so like when we're actually meeting in the same tempospatial sort of containment, when we're in the same physical room, right? It takes a much wider array of competences, and it activates a lot of other sort of points of reference where we can meet and resonate and sort of connect to each other, than this sort of digitally mediated screen thing. And perhaps this is also the reason why communication gradually tends to be more sort of rough and primitive, and often sort of degrades into something that it would never have degraded into if we would actually have met face to face and would be able to read each other better and sort of do this Shiva and Shakti dance of meeting the other, which is really what we always do as humans, and something that we're very good at. So again, I think poetry can be used actively as a tool for negotiating and investigating these new realms of existence. Of course, publishing, using poetry as an activism also can be well, you can make use of the internet, of course you can, but you all know that, so that's perhaps not so interesting. I think nowadays, I think actually the real reality, where you actually go to the street and meet other people, is perhaps becoming rapidly very much important, and I think we should all be ready for that when the time comes. I think maybe I should just read another poem for you from my new collection to end this talk, because I can see that I've talked now for half an hour, and I think that's a good little lecture right there. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this title poem called River of Man from this collection. And this is a tribute to my friend India, because I'm also an Indian sea, even though it might not look like it, and I don't have the passport, but I am. So this is a tribute to my friend India, and it goes like this. Faced with the history of Western colonialism, it would be, or it could be, considered improper or merely classic for a white man to celebrate India. So let's assume I am an Indian. I am an Indian. Aren't we all on this subcontinent? After all, it is the difference that makes the difference, as another Indian in a white man's skin once said. I am an Indian now, just another curiosity, just one more avatar, dancing the dance of life in the golden halls between the eyebrows of the roof of the world, another distinct flavor on the tongue, just another twist of the cosmic serpent. I am an Indian now, and I love my country, its sheer improbability, embodying the vast multiplicity of oneness into so many shades of golden brown. I am an Indian, rather becoming, wouldn't you say, a snack of times to come, a bite of tomorrow, today, reverse colonialism by intentional invention, engineered by poetry itself, a tasting of more. So for the sake of the play of the golden child, let's say I am an Indian now. I am India. I am India, stretching upwards towards the sky. I am India. My left hand, Nagaland, my right, Punjab, the Himalayas, 1,000-petaled lotus, the crown over my head, my heartland, Kolkata, Delhi, and Jaipur, my solar plexus, bombastic Bombay, the lean muscles of my stomach, Madhya Pradesh, my left leg, the eastern Ghats, and my right, the western. My feet, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, firmly grounded in the soul of the south. My headstand, a complementary constant, in which case Chennai is my strongest arm or perhaps pointiest elbow. I am India, the dream without end, the river of man, the vortex of the worlds. I am the mutton goat kid on a sun-scorched field. I am the tired gounder in love with a woman he can't have. I'm the tamarind, the coconut, the curry leaf, the priceless onion, the pomegranate. I am scripture. I am prayer. I am kulfi and banana palm. I am cool marble and black stone. I am a trillion lakh crore in a cornucopia of forward movement, a tsunami of life, blossoming myriads at the command of two master genes, Shakti and Shiva, man and woman, inhalation and exhalation. I am India, the veil of Ishtar so thin here, between worlds so many in one. I am India, the heart of the world, so bright and so dark, so soft and so dark and so hard, so delicate, delicate, delicate in roughness, pockets of gold encrusted in dirt, behind stone, metal, or mud wall, pockets of crap encrusted in gold on the networks, billboards, and wall paintings, advertising, east and west rolled into one. As I walk by myself, as an apparition, a green tea leaf, a tick, or a sacred cow, a holy child sells plastic Christmas doodles in the sulfuric mists of midday traffic, morning traffic, office traffic, traffic movement. I cannot be lazy. I can only be. Oh, I am India, the river of man, my head high in the clouds of exquisite perfume or human waste. Sometimes I can hardly see my feet, but I wash them anyway. I am the kolam of the morning, the rangoli of the rising sun. I am Sri India Ji, Guru India Ji. I am the old, hand in hand with the new. I am India, the river of the worlds. And no matter what, I never look back. My paints will never dry. My canvas embrace my colors, my matter, my mind, my yoga in the here and now of eternity, pure at heart. I am India, child of the morning. I must go. I cannot be lazy. Thank you. And thank you for listening to me and taking your time on a Saturday evening. Very grateful, and I hope that you have some questions, and I hope more than anything else to see you in real life sometime as soon as possible. Thank you.